was circle booting, and it wouldn't run like. Well, first I started doing just a soft reset. Just client data, just reset it real quick for the OS.
Yeah.
Failed in about 25 minutes, and I told them, and I'm like, we're gonna have to back up your data, do a full restore. Got the approval for it. Before I did that, I did a hardware check too, diagnostic. Everything passed, right? I'm like, all right, cool. Built-in recovery partition. It literally went 2 hours into recovery. It was already booting into Windows. It was just installing HP software, and then critically failed and would not skip the step, and it was terrible. So then I ended up having to send them into the store. Wasted like 3 hours of my day. But whatevs.
I mean, it passed. Well, I guess you probably didn't see the result then. Was it bad sectors in the hard drive or something?
I don't know. It literally. So we do a sector check. We do smart check and all the normal stuff. But it is a quick test. So it only takes about 5 minutes. But that quick test is pretty accurate. So I'm wondering if there's something else weird going on. It could be something separate.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was just a waste of my afternoon.
Were you installing from a restore partition?
Yeah, the built-in recovery partition on HP. Yeah. I mean, those are pretty functional. Like, even if they're not, even if they fail, they usually get to at least a point of somewhat functionality.
Yeah.
Like they might fail to install some piece of software, but it's usually not a critical failure. Where the only options are restart and retry the entire fucking install.
Okay, so you could have potentially restarted the install and it would have gone through successfully. Maybe you don't really.
Maybe, but I don't have another 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absurd.
Fun. Well, I mean, at least you're healthy enough to have those kinds of frustrations again.
Real quick, while we're just waiting for everyone to play, could Pogo check the silver necklace to see if there's anything magical about it, just in case?
Yeah. So that process, generally, if you don't have a specific spell for detect magic or identify, you definitely still can. You just basically have to make an Arcana check, and if you basically it's the DC is adjusted depending on your competence and that kind of thing.
Got it.
So go ahead.
So mine might be a little high because I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
silver necklace it is.
I'll tell you that you're pretty sure that there's no magical properties to this thing, but you're not 100% confident in you're like 80% sure that there's no ability to this.
Sure.
It does look well made though, and looks like you could probably get a good price for it. Let me show you that token while we're waiting for Fox here. Here it is.
Oh, that's perfect.
I thought you might like it. If you zoom way in, well, you can't really see it in the shadow very well. I made this kind of glowing purplish shit around it. So the bell end of it looks like bell end. The bell end of it looks like the British.
Yeah, for a cockhead.
For a dick, yeah, exactly. Yeah, for a dickhead.
The bell end.
That's what it's called, but I never really thought about it being like, because bell end has become like a more popular British colloquialism nowadays. It probably was before too. I don't know. But anyways, like I knew the term for a musical instrument. I guess I never really thought about it being, these days like a popular. They say that instead of cunt every third word now. Mm-hmm. But anyways,
it's like the male version of cunt.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Bloody bell end.
But I made the kind of glowy around it a little bit. Here, let me move it to a less shadowy area. But it actually just kind of looks like it's part of the lute itself, or the banjo in this case. But I tried to make it look, decently enough. So
I like it.
It's what you're looking for. The artist replied to. He said it's usually about 3 weeks out. So as soon as I get the sketch. Well, the thing is, he always says that, and then I get it like a week later. So like it probably won't actually be that long. He always said that for all these other. In fact, the other tokens that are on the board are all ones that he made as well.
They probably say more time just in case it takes them longer or they get more orders.
Yeah, it could be. So you're back, Fox?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. In that case, everybody finishes off rest. Artabe, you went back to sleep. I guess you stayed up, didn't you? Were you doing anything in particular for the remaining time, or did you just kill time?
Probably partly killing time, sleight of hand.
Okay. You already made it's technically it hasn't been 24 hours, but it is a new day. Go ahead and give me 3 sleight of hand rolls.
No,
Natural
okay.
20. Hey, at least you got a natural 20
Okay.
finally. All right, so that's one more success on there. Okay, I'll mark that down. I think you need 3 more before proficiency. 2 or 3. It might only be 2 more actually. I'll check it again though. Anyways, morning comes though with you guys, resting up. After a very awkward evening of being eaten by dogs. Let's see. I thought I had something else. Maybe not. It is morning though, and everybody's back, right?
Yeah.
Becky?
Yeah?
Okay. There was something you were supposed to do in the morning. Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm supposed to get a hold of Pepperjack.
Okay. All right. So are you reaching out to him?
Oh, crap. Alright, yes. Okay, let's see.
Got my fingers. Let's count them off.
Wait, before I start this, how far out are we from Dunskatak?
You know what? Okay, so I would. It's morning, and you haven't got to talk to Orvin, but I would say that you knew at least yesterday before going to bed that Orvin had told you that you guys should be reaching Cadogan, which is the closest port basically to where you guys need to go. That you should be reaching there by tomorrow evening, like 24 hours from when he told you that. So it'll probably be like 6 or 7 o'clock tonight.
So, like, 3 days from Dunskatak? Because it took us 2 to walk, right?
It took you 2, yeah. So you're that's exactly it. It's going to take you 2 days to walk, presumably, unless you or something, or a faster way of traveling. But if you just walk back, it's going to be another 2 days, which means you're 2.5 days out, 3 days out.
Okay. How is everything? Got the device. On our way back. About 3 days out, unless can find faster means of travel.
Okay, I think that was 22-ish, 21, 22.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. It takes a long time. It's probably a good solid minute, and that seems like an eternity when you're just waiting for a reply on like a text for this kind of a response. But after what seems like a very long time, it's just you and, well, Artemis not in there with you, so you're just in there by yourself. He replies. I'm just going to give you the reply. There you go. He sounds utterly exhausted, like mentally exhausted, and his words are obviously pretty grim, but that's the message he gives you. All of those were mentioned. Everything was mentioned. You guys did not tell, just for simplicity's sake, to have Pogo filled in on the events of what's occurred so far. You guys didn't really fill him in on how you guys got to the desert in the first place. All 3 of them were captured by slavers. They didn't know each other at this point. They were captured by slavers called the Black Iron, Justin.
Okay. But did they tell me this? Because that might not. Did Pogo get told this, or just?
Well,
because I feel
would
like
you
that
guys
might not have a lot of details for why they're helping these other people, unless it's critical. To that
potentially, but this is stuff. This is, you know what? It's fine. It's background info that you would potentially need, but maybe it didn't come up yet. There's 2 things that are left on the list that you should probably know, but that Pogo may not know yet. So if nothing else, I'll fill you in at the end of if this doesn't come up beforehand, I'll fill you in afterwards, and then Pogo may not have this information, but Justin does at least. Does that make sense?
Sure.
All right. So it's morning now. That's the information you've gotten from Pepperjack. You have the majority of the day sailing left to go. What are you guys doing?
I got a question. Do I know what challenge sapphire means? But for some reason that doesn't come.
No. Yeah, you probably wouldn't know.
I think Pogo would like to cook breakfast for everybody. He likes that everyone opened up. Is there a galley on this ship, or?
It sure is. Yep. You were knocked out the previous night when Arteme had made dinner for everybody in the galley. But you head down there, and there's a strong venison smell in the air of the venison stew that is still, like there's still a little bit of it left, basically. But the galley, as far as where it is on the map, this is still the nighttime map. Let me give you guys the daytime map. Not that it matters exactly; it's just a little easier to see everything. You like my badass Photoshop skills that I made that look like nighttime with fucking clouds and shit?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, don't pretend you're not impressed. All right. Did I share that? Yeah, I got it. Okay. Where the galley is in the lowest deck. Looks like it's been converted into slave holes. It's going to be the deck below where you are, where the tables are, where there's a large kind of long table. I'll go ahead and just move you there. Not that it exactly matters during out of combat anyways, but there you are. All right. So, but anyway, the smell of the chamber though is still very. In fact, that deck has a strong venison smell to it. You guys know what venison smells like?
Yep. Looks deer.
I mean, yeah, it is deer, but it has a very particular smell. All right. What's Norik up to?
I am going to, after we eat and stuff, I'm going to go just see if I can help on the ship with whatever the daily activities and stuff are. See if the crew needs help with anything.
You're gonna swab the deck?
That's what I'll do. Like a good, the poop deck, I'll swab it. So, like a good butt pirate.
I probably would have pulled Norik aside away from everybody else to tell him what happened to Obo.
Well, then you're gonna have to go ahead and do that because you got the information. Norik doesn't have it.
All right, so I'll just pull him aside and just tell him that I heard from Pepperjack and the Legion attacked on Skathak, but Obo fell saving children.
Alright, I'm going to just look at her for a second and look away and not say anything. And then just, tap her on the shoulder, put my hand on her shoulder and just walk away. So.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go and find Arteme and tell her what I heard from Pepperjack.
Okay. The whole message?
Yeah.
All right. So, are you telling everybody? I guess Pogo's the only one left out. I don't want to share it to everybody unless you're.
Pogo is currently just rummaging through people's stuff, seeing if there's any valuables downstairs. He's just a curious little guy. He's just looking through everything.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check on Pogo, and then for if Sarah hasn't talked to Pogo yet, then we'll hold off on that part of it. But I guess Sarah.
I would pull Arteme aside because Samson doesn't know that I can talk to Pepperjack yet. Tell her what he said, and then ask her if she thinks we should tell Samson that we need to hurry the hell up. And then return, kind of reveal the fact that we can talk to Pepperjack. Or should we just tell him we should probably hurry because I have a bad feeling or something?
Okay.
Just make something up. Anything goes in this world.
What was that? Fox?
Wait, what's the message?
Oh, it is that the Legion has attacked on Skathak. They've had heavy losses. It's about 3 to 4 days unless the artifact is there. Obo fell, and something about Challenge Sapphire? Not sure what the last part was.
It's probably not something that Arteme would understand either, but just in case, go ahead and give me a flat intelligence, maybe history. If you're proficient in history, you can roll that on Arteme.
I'm not.
It's all stuffed up. Okay. You can still roll a history check, it won't matter. Either that or intelligence, it'll be the same roll. Just so that Justin understands some kind of how some of these things work. Go to your skills tab, Justin.
I'm there.
Okay. Now this will make a little less sense initially because you're a bard and bards have jack of all trades. How it works is all of your skills basically are. You see how to the right of each skill there's a stat, right? Like acrobatics is dex and so on, right? So a dex check would be that you would just roll d20 and you would add your dex modifier. If you are proficient in something, you also then get to add your proficiency bonus, and your proficiency bonus automatically goes up as you level because, of course, as you get more experienced at something, the things you're good at, you get better at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you're not proficient in something, then a skill check in something you're not proficient would be the exact same as just rolling a flat skill check, or flat, like a dex check or ability check for that, right? That makes
Mine's
sense,
just
right?
weird because it's like plus
Because you have half of everything.
to all
Yeah.
sorts of shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. As a bard, you get half of your proficiency bonus on everything because of jack of all trades. So you get that whether you're proficient in something or not. Hence, all of yours having all those proficiency modifiers on the right, and then some things like intimidation where you have expertise, intimidation and persuasion. Geez.
Yeah. I haven't got to use them a lot. I'm just fucking attacking people with my
With your
rapier
rapier?
most of the time. Yeah.
I think you didn't you try
I want to
to
go. I
intimidate
want to
one
go
of the dogs?
lie to some motherfuckers. Yeah, I tried. I think I used it when I think I used it on Samson and Norok when we were in the dark or something. I think I just
Yeah.
confused everyone a lot. That's what happened.
For Arteme, yeah, that the challenge sapphire doesn't seem to mean anything to you.
I'm proficient in history. Could I roll a check?
You are a little more removed. The thing is Sarah was a little bit more sheltered than Arteme. Arteme is very worldly, so for you, it's not something you really would have come across. You know what? Okay, go ahead because there are some books that Sarah may have read that could have potentially given her some insight into this, but the DC is going to be pretty high. So go ahead and make a history check on Sarah. Yeah.
Did I get to find anything, by the way? Did Pogo find anything?
So you, with that roll, you are digging through the kind of leftovers of the crew member. Remember, there were you.
Oh, yeah.
You were the not a crew, but a passenger on here.
All the dead person stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All the people's things that have disappeared. All the people that were eaten and taken overboard by the fishmen, the Sawagan. Most of their stuff has been kind of taken and thrown in crates and everything, just to make room for the crew to kind of spread out a little bit so that they're not all sharing the same bunk. But you dig through a lot of very mundane personal effects until you find a chest. And as soon as you open this chest, you realize, oh, this is, the other members of the crew have already done this, and very convenient for you, taken all of their valuables and thrown it in this one big box. So there's a lot of bits of jewelry, rings, necklaces, bracelets, things like that. Multiple sacks of coinage, like the various grades of sacks. So a merchant might have a better, nicer silk bag, like a coin bag, than like a trader or a guild master. Somebody might. So basically, bunches of different sacks with different coinage in them. But it's a almost full chest, like almost all the way up, filled with various valuables.
And is this on the bottom deck? Down the bottom?
No, it would actually be in where one of the bunks is. So it's probably, I'm gonna go ahead and move you there real quick. It would probably be right here.
All right, and this is all the crew's items, all the people working on the ship.
Well, the crew have already taken all of these things and put them in here.
Oh.
So it's clear that they already did all of that, meaning that they kind of saw these things and said, "Oh, well, that looks nice. Let's we'll throw it in here and maybe we'll split it up later." That's the impression you get, that they probably did that.
Sure.
So it's stealing for sure, but it's a question of how much you think you can steal and get away with versus how much you care and so on.
Yep.
And also, I mean, plus it's a pretty big box. I mean, you won't be able to carry all that. You definitely could not carry the whole thing.
No, I'm going to.
Unless it's a multi-trip thing.
I'm going to try to get as much as I can on my person and in my bag.
Okay.
And then I'm actually going to take the rest, and I'm gonna go hide it somewhere close, but not right here. Like maybe I'll hide it in the kitchen. Where I made breakfast in one of the barrels that I can find.
Okay. Are you emptying the box, or you're gonna it'll just be an empty chest then when you're done?
Yeah, and before I leave the room, I'm actually just going to use my magical hat of disguise to make myself look like one of the workers, and I'm just walking from here to the kitchen just in case anyone sees me.
There's only 8 of them, including the dwarf. So there's 7 halfling crew members and the dwarf left.
Yep, I'm going to put as much as I can on my person, and I'm going to hide the rest in the kitchen.
Okay, so you're trying to look like a specific one then, or?
I'm going to try to look like just one of the normal deckhands.
Okay, so there's 7 of them basically. If that one sees you, You see where the risk comes in, right?
I do, but
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We're gonna make a couple of rolls here to see whether you get caught or not. Is all.
I'll tell you
we
what.
have another Spider-Man pointing at himself situation.
Well, let me see. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to fight him. I'm going to be able to talk my way out of it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's a fight necessarily. Just that's
yeah, you know what?
that's a
I'm just
potentiality.
going to pretend. Actually, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put as much as I can on my person, and I'm going to walk back to my room and hide it in my room somewhere first.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw that. So go ahead and give me roll a percentile dice. So right click on the D10, which is the third from the left.
Percent.
Yep, and then hit the percent symbol at the top.
Okay.
Top left.
And then roll it.
Yep. Okay, Fox. All right, you you open this chest and it's almost like a fucking, god damn it, the Indiana Jones movie where there's like this golden glow on his face when he opens the thing of all of the glittering bullshit inside of it's more just your own gleam of finding this ridiculous amount of stored treasures, and it's just instantly grabbing handfuls of stuff and shoving them in every possible pocket, every way that you can stash as much of this stuff until you close the lid very surreptitiously, stand up and look around, touch your hat and kind of change your appearance, step out of the room with these like mystery bulges all over your shape of like the stuff that you've stored away. It's not visible, of course, but you can feel like the jingling.
So when I changed my mind about where I was going to take it, I also changed my mind about the disguise. I just figured I'm not going to risk it. I'm just gonna fill up my pockets and walk back to my room. Okay.
All right. So you are making your way back very carefully, jingling away. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Well, I'm wearing dwarven elven shoes, so I shouldn't really be making too much sound.
Actually, you still that's specifically for footsteps. It doesn't affect the other sound you make. But I do think you get advantage from it. Let me check real quick. So that you would actually still have advantage on them regardless of the other noise that you're making. Elven boots, it is. While you wear these boots, your steps make no sound regardless of the surface you're moving across. You also have advantage on dex stealth checks that rely on moving silently. So you still get advantage, but it's not silent because it's not the steps that are the noise problem here. Okay, Fox. So give me a stealth check with advantage.
I don't remember how to advantage.
So bottom left corner down by where your dice
are.
Oh,
that's right.
There you go. Oh, good roll. You dropped a 9 too. You make your way very carefully. You do pass 2 different crew members who don't really pay you any mind. You just walk on right by.
How's it going? Good rope jobs. Good rope jobs with the ropes.
It almost sounds like it's innuendo. So you get kind of a sidelong look, like are you propositioning them? Like they're not really sure what you mean.
And then I wink at them, gentlemen.
That makes it worse. That is so much worse. But
keep
you make
that
your way back
rope
too.
nice and tight. No one likes some soft rope, gentlemen.
Everybody hates a loose rope job. But you make your way all the way back to your cabin, and it seemed to be that you made it safely. Doesn't appear that anybody noticed except for your own paranoia.
So I'm gonna hide it in the most. I don't know. Let's see. There looks like there's a little chest there, but that's too obvious. So I'm gonna scatter everything underneath the mattress area and just make sure there's nice covering above it. So it hopefully doesn't make too much sound when I sit on the bed or go to sleep.
It's not a fucking squeak toy. Like it's jewelry. It's gonna be silent when you sit on the bed. But anyways, so you managed to take out about a quarter or so of the contents of the box. It's hard to get a good estimate. You're not a jeweler, of course, but to look at every individual item is going to take you some more time. But you imagine that's probably a good amount of money.
Sure.
Are you grabbing more? Are you going back to cooking? What are you doing?
Oh, he's thinking about it. Yeah, you know what? He's gonna go back down, and he's thinking, this is fine. This is normal, and I'm just gonna go back down, and I'm gonna fill my pockets one more time.
Okay. All right, so you're going to try to empty half of what the contents were then?
Half of the contents. I'm also going to put something underneath the other half, like a pillow, to make it look more full.
Okay, to try to deceive them a little bit. Give me a roll another percentile. All right, and then walking. So you've stuffed it in. You've basically, filled your pockets, and then you can't find a pillow in there, but there's plenty of like little grain sacks. And they're pretty heavy, but you kind of pull a grain sack out and stuff it up underneath, and then try to spread out the jewelry over top of it to make it look like it's all there. But there's obvious holes where you can see a grain sack beneath it, but at least it's it's as much as you can spread out basically and still make it look like it's full. But your pockets are full. You make to go back towards your room then.
Oh yeah, just gonna walk back to my room.
All right, another stealth check with advantage. Similarly, then, this time you only cross one member, and it just happens to be one of the ones you asked about a rope job earlier, and he gives you a very wide berth. These hallways are not wide, but he waits for you to pass and then goes down the hallway because he doesn't he's just giving you a very sidelong look until you're kind of out of the way before he walks down the hallway.
Good job, sailor.
Since Artemy and I are up on the deck right in front of the hallway that leads to his cabin, seeing him walk back and forth, I'm just be like, "Hey, Pogo, you okay?"
I'm doing great. This has been a very fantastic day. I've enjoyed getting to know everybody. I'm just smiling.
Give me perception checks on Sarah and Artemy both.
Oh.
He does have to walk right past you.
Oh, I'm so bad at this.
You're bad at perception? Yeah, but you rolled a 3, so yeah, that is pretty bad. Artemy, you hear a very distinct jingling sound as he's walking past. And Pogo seems, he's certainly acting slightly suspicious. Not necessarily negative, but you do hear jingling as he walks past.
Okay, I would ask him what he's been into.
Well, and I'd whisper in her ear and say, I found a little gold downstairs. I don't think it's anybody's. It was just lying around, probably from some of the people who left, who got, eaten by fish people. So I put some in my pockets. I'm just going to put it in my room. But it's all going for the good cause. It probably is at least 10 gold pieces.
And there was a note on it that said, Pogo, I want you to have this with my dying wish.
I figure, why don't we put it towards this good cause that you're working on? It's not going to hurt anybody.
I would just look at him sideways and say, what about their family? Some of those could be heirlooms,
Do you really think that the sailors here are going to be given back to the families of all the deceased little halflings on this boat? We can do good with this 8 gold pieces that we have.
Am I hearing this conversation?
What's that?
Am I hearing this conversation?
You're certainly within earshot. I mean, how are you whispering to try to keep Sarah from
I'm whispering to both of them. No, I'm just letting them
all right.
both know that,
Okay.
that
Can I run an
it's
insight?
fine.
Yeah, go ahead and make an insight check on Sarah.
Can I roll a deception check?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and screenshot or snip tool this one so you guys can see the result. I haven't gone over how to use the tower and what it's for yet with Justin, so we'll do that later. But for now, in the Embers channel, you guys can see the result here. Fox, yours was a 16 total. So, Sarah, you do not believe him. He's definitely lying for sure.
Right,
So Justin, you can see in there, you with your crazy proficiency, you rolled really shitty, but with your proficiency and everything, well, not shitty, but basically got a 21, and Becky rolled a 22, so she just barely beat you.
I'm just gonna look at him and be like, with all that treasure you've got hanging around, we have something that could get it off this ship without anyone being the wiser.
Oh, I'm definitely curious about that. Why don't you tell me, what is this thing? Because, yes, this 6 gold is probably going to be real difficult to get off the ship.
You're going to have disadvantage on deception checks if you keep accidentally giving away the numbers.
Well, I figure I'm going to wink at them because I figure they already know that I'm kind
in on it?
messing with them. Yeah, so I'm going to give them a little wink. But yeah, I'd be fine with that. I think we could do good with this. And remember, it's split at 50 50 ways or whatever we were talking about. We'll figure it out.
I'm just gonna look at Artemite. Artemite, can I borrow the bag real quick?
Sure.
Alright, and then I will tell.
And you can follow me back to
Yeah.
Pogo, just have you come back to his room. And
Yeah, we just start shoving stuff in the bag.
sure.
Alright.
And then
Alright,
I'm
you guys-
gonna tell her that there's more downstairs, but I don't know if we're gonna be okay getting it. It's there are 9 other people on here. I'm pretty sure they put it all in one place and know where
They
it
don't.
is.
And one of them is Orvin, who was on the slave ship. So I guess they didn't give you all that info, Justin. I'll fill you in at the end, so Pogo doesn't know that. You just knew that they knew Orvin, the temporary captain.
So I'd like to let them know and see if they think it's okay if we take more. Because
I would follow
Obviously.
them into the room and then just be like, I think what you have is enough. Leave the rest for the other people. They could probably use it for their journey.
I agree. As much
Then
as
I
it pains
will-
me to say it.
also agree, because I do enjoy what we've already done, and I don't want to get too greedy. Pogo knows that if he gets too greedy, bad things can happen sometimes. So he's fine with that solution.
All right, then in that case, I'm going to go ahead and end the party inventory. Yeah, I'll just leave it in the party inventory for now, and then I'll add it to the bag once we've identified it. But I'm going to put half a chest of valuables that is in the bag of holding currently. The bag, by the way, that she showed you, that's called a bag of holding. I guess how thoroughly does... I mean, Sarah showed a bag. Did she explain its properties, how it works?
Well, I think Pogo would probably just look at it like, what?
Yeah, no, I just start putting stuff in there and be like, no one will ever know.
So, all right, then you see Sarah rifling up handfuls of the ill-gotten gains that you've tried to hide under your bed, and she's shoveling them into this bag, and they're not clinking. The bag isn't very big. It's like a messenger bag style bag. Not very big, and they definitely should be clinking against each other and making noise. But as soon as they go in, it's like they disappear.
That's pretty fucking cool. I need one of those. I like it.
Yeah, I'm handing it right back to Artemite.
All right.
Is everything in that bag? Is all your stuff in that one bag?
A lot of it.
Interesting.
But not all of it.
Is Pogo trying to steal the bag of holding and run off with it now too?
No, he's perfectly fine.
I'm just gonna look at him and be like, I fought off 2 adult owlbears and 2 small owlbears for that bag, so you might want to watch yourself.
All
And,
right.
and,
I'm just joking.
All right, so you've managed to steal half of that chest of whatever valuables, of course, had been amongst the folks here. Again, the rest of the rooms just had like their mundane items and so on, so it seems like most of the valuables had been gathered into that chest. But it's about it's probably by this point, because you guys slept in a little bit too. It's probably about 11 or noon or so. So are you still, are you cooking? Or you kind of interrupted yourself, and I would say by now that you're smelling a very distinct smoky smell coming from the galley.
Well, before I go see what that is, I'm gonna go grab myself a drink. Would anyone else like a beverage?
You're gonna burn the ship down.
Just one drink.
Well, if I smell the burning, I'm gonna go check what's burning.
Okay. All right. Well, while Pogo is grabbing a drink and offering one
Pogo
to
just thinks
Sarah,
it's food.
Arteme, you head down there, and the galley is billowing smoke. It's not on fire, but you head over to what was Pogo cooking?
So
whatever
I
was
was
on
cooking
board?
eggs. I was making eggs and brunch, so probably eggs and bread and maybe a little meat. So probably a little bacon or something.
The stuff that's going to smell pretty awful when it's burned. The grease from the bacon probably it's pretty black smoked. But you managed to save a good amount of it. Is Arteme trying to kind of finish it, or just
Yeah,
putting out the fires?
Well, I'd put out the fire and try and finish it without take out what's burnt and then just finish the rest,
Wait.
because we probably have low food supplies. Like even with all the dead people, like ships don't normally have that much food.
Yeah, remember when the ship left port, it was only supposed to be gone for 4 days, and you guys have been at sea for 7, I think. Let me look at the calendar real quick. What was Pogo saying?
Did we not eat breakfast?
Well, you were cooking breakfast, and then halfway through, you got distracted by shiny things.
Oh, I thought we had already eaten. But Pogo's bad. Pogo just imagined that he had breakfast with people.
So yeah, you guys left. In fact, it's been exactly 7 days. You guys have been at sea for 7 days now. It was last Saturday when you guys left.
Okay, yeah, so I definitely try and save it.
Okay. Give me a. I'm not sure what that would even be. Probably survival, I guess. As far as what bits of the food are still good. Survival check. You managed. Okay, yeah. You managed to recover most of it. Basically, the bacon is pretty much gone. The eggs, you kind of scrape off the stuff off the bottom and cook the rest of it. Finish the cooking for that. That's fine. The bread was fine. It's a little bit hardtack, sure, but sailors are used to that anyway, so that's really not going to hurt anybody. But you managed to kind of finish it off and serve kind of a late breakfast, early lunch for everybody. But you managed to have a decent enough meal of it and not lose it all to Pogo greed. You guys, it's still a long ways off, but just in the distance now. If you guys have finished your lunch or whatever, out in the southeast, the ship is kind of headed straight there, but to the southeast a ways, you can see the beginning. You can basically see the shore where you're heading to. It's still a few hours off. It'll probably be about 4 or 5 hours or so before you get there. So you have a little bit longer to kill. Samson has been spending a lot of the time on the deck, sure, but he does go below decks pretty often. And between the three, Pogo actually was knocked out probably by this point, but Norok, Sarah, and Artava, you gather that he's probably just checking very nervously on the object, on the arc that you guys have recovered. But basically, he keeps checking on it, come back up. Everything seems to be fine. What are you guys doing for you doing anything beyond killing time, I guess, before the remainder of the trip?
I'd like to ask Samson about the box and find out if he's willing to tell me how that works and tell me a little more details about what was wrong with me when I was under that thing's control.
He kind of pats you on the shoulder in a not demeaning. What's the word I'm looking for? The way that you might like a child, like a child who is unintentionally ignorant just because they wouldn't otherwise know. But it's certainly very demeaning. He just doesn't intend it to be. But he says, well, I mean, you remember the vast erudition, right? I mean, it wasn't that long ago, and you know how those objects enthralled people. Well, this is of a similar effect. So you would operate under its will without necessarily knowing it, and likely use it to bad ends.
How safe is that in the box that you put? Like, I noticed you keep checking on it. It makes me a little worried. Is everything going to be all right?
To be honest, I don't really know. That's not really, my wheelhouse, but they told me that it would be. They told me how to set it up, and so far it seems fine. I mean, you tell me then. Just give me your own impression. Does it seem like I'm acting strangely? Does it seem like it's, affecting me the way that it did you? I mean, you're the only one here that had it.
In our very long history together, you definitely seem pretty normal. I mean, we know each other so well, and I guess I'll have to take your word on that.
He kind of chuckles.
I mean, worst case scenario, we just get sucked down to the bottom of the sea by a giant squid. Worst case!
He kind of shrugs. He says, that doesn't sound so awful. At least I could take a break. You do notice, by the way, Pogo, you've seen this already, of course, but he seems... It almost seems like every day he's worse and worse. Like, his eyes are very deep red, like they're constantly bloodshot. He seems like he's always exhausted. It seems like he's not getting very much rest when he's sleeping. But it was that way when you first met him coming on the ship, on this ship when it left Cadogan in the first place 7 days ago, even before you guys recovered the artifact. So for the first 4 days, it seemed like he was getting worse and worse every day, and then you guys got the and now, or 5 days, I guess. And then now in the time since, it's just, it's still progressing.
So Pogo probably just thinks he's got some good drugs or something.
It almost, that's exactly what I was going to say, actually. But he doesn't act at all like he's being affected by it. He looks like he's really fucked up. Like he's really, exhausted to the point of delirium almost. But in answer to what you were saying, though, he says, I was just hoping, I guess, since you were affected by it for a bit, that maybe you'd have some insight. I do worry a little bit that maybe it's affecting me and I just don't know it, because it seemed that you didn't while you were under its control. Well, as far as I can tell, I'm not. I don't know that you knew either.
At least you're not sleeping with it under your pillow like I was, so probably less or so, I guess.
He kind of like a little sideways grin. Like that doesn't really comfort him too much. He is sleeping in the same room with it, and you get the impression maybe he's thinking like, is that kind of what you mean? Like, sleeping that close to it may be the problem, but he doesn't really say anything. That's the impression you get. Norok, Sarah, Arteme, you guys doing anything for the remainder of the trip?
I'm good.
I'm trying to remember if I have anything I need to identify.
Ooh, I would jump into the water and like swim with the ship and try and see if I could do a few more animal forms.
Okay. There is a pod of dolphins off of the port bow that have been following you for a while. It's not uncommon, especially in the Caliodoran, that they will just follow ships just for kind of jump reaching and kind of how dolphins will swim alongside of a ship. So anyways, just doing that. But you kind of hop overboard. You can't keep up with them unless you're. What aquatic forms do you have so far?
Let me check.
I think I forgot to put the shark form on there for you. Let me do that actually while we're at it.
Probably, but I do have shark.
Yeah. And I think the reef shark would be, probably enough to keep up with them. Druid shapes. Hopefully this doesn't crash. Fantasy Grounds will be slow here for a second while this loads. But you guys are or you are able to, Fox, in reef shark, I assume would be close enough to be able to keep up. You're trying to study the dolphins?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and put that on there for you, as well as the dolphin one here in a minute. What was Norok doing?
I'm just going to work around the ship, like I was saying, because especially after the news of Obo, he knows he's just going to sit and brood if he doesn't do anything else, so he's going to try to work through it, think about it and while he's working. So,
okay.
Just hope to keep busy.
Okay. There really isn't much to it. It's very kind of boring and tedious work, but it is nice, kind of doing something physical after being on a ship and not really getting to move beyond the occasional fight for the last 7 days. So pulling rigging, kind of cleaning the deck, things like that, just stuff that's a little bit physical. Certainly feels good to kind of stretch the muscle basically when you've been almost inactive basically throughout most of the week. How about Sarah doing anything?
So I couldn't find anything that I needed to identify still. I think I'm done with that.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna take the broom and gradually just kind of try to build myself up to going higher and higher.
Okay.
Just try to get used to it.
Okay. You guys are far enough in the day by now that you're getting closer and closer to Cadogan, of course. Are you?
I'm just like on the deck of the ship, just like hovering and like going inch by inch higher and higher, and trying to get more comfortable with the height issue.
How high do you go? Like max distance, because you've done 10 feet, 10, 15 feet probably. I know Arteme, I think, went up like 30, 40 feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you saw the Kraken. I don't think Sarah went up that high, so how high is Sarah going?
I will try to get up 25 feet, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Give me I think probably just an acrobatics check, a dex, and if you're proficient in acrobatics, you can use that. You are, okay. All right. Give me, while you're at it too, give me a perception check with advantage on Sarah. Okay. You are kind of staring down at the broom, and you're realizing you're starting to feel almost like muscle control, like muscles regrowing in your hands slowly. It's been a few hours, of course. There's still nothing there. Like there's nothing physically there, but it's almost like you can feel your hand there anyways. A little bit like Phantom Limb. So you kind of practice with kind of holding onto the broom as best you can with your missing hand without having to use the mage hand. But as soon as you get up high enough, as you're kind of trying to break the fear of heights, and you're getting far enough up off of the deck while still keeping pace with the ship, of course, so if you fall, that you'd land on the ship. and hopefully, somebody can administer medical medical attention instead of falling in the waves and getting eaten. But anyways, you're trying to keep a pace above the ship, and as you get higher and higher, you keep kind of looking out a little bit and trying to break this sphere. You're getting you guys have gotten close enough to Cadogan now that you look out just very carefully, just this very brief glance out towards the port town that you're headed toward. And you are immediately kind of shaken for a second. You almost have to grip onto to the broom and almost slip. You do manage to hold on to it with that 24, but in the distance at Cadogan, the sun is beginning to set in the west, so down behind you. But you can see there's this dense fog is rolling in along the wetland shore, and gathered along the docks at this little sleepy port town. You can see that there's smoke rising from the village. It's not that much, but it's a little bit, and that's what first kind of drew your attention. But you see a half dozen or so Vabian Becklights that are dressed in brass and purple, standing in a row along the wharf that are watching your ship come in. And behind them, there are more Becklights that are hurrying the halfling civilians out of their homes and their shops at spear point and kind of pushing them up to this big grouping on the main road, that big main road that goes up the hill, the same one that you guys came down when you met the old lady in the little apothecary shop. But basically, the Becklights are gathering up the at least what was left, of the civilians of Cadogan, and it doesn't look good. You don't necessarily see it's not on fire. The village isn't on fire, but that's what you see.
Is there anybody on the deck? Because I know
below you.
Artemay jumped. Yeah, because I know Artemay jumped overboard.
Artemay is out swimming. Samson is on the deck. Where's Pogo?
No, I'm right here. I'm just hanging out, enjoying the sunshine.
Norok is too, actually, because he was cleaning the deck.
Right,
So he's
then
pushing
I'm
a broom.
just gonna start yelling at them, guys. We have trouble. There's a bunch of Becklights on the docks, and they're taking all of the halflings out of their homes. They're waiting for us to come in.
Samson rushes off to the bow, up the forecastle. So it would actually be the top part of the ship, but just for simplicity's sake, he runs up to the bow. And he yells something, and it's clearly that it's a curse. You just can't hear him from this distance. Pogo's going up there as well.
Oh yeah, I'm curious. What is this Dickolite that this girl keeps screaming about?
Not Dickolite. The word is Becklight. It's a Vabian soldier. Think Troy, like you saw the movie Troy, right?
Sure.
So the Greek soldiers with spears and shields and sandals. That.
All right. How can we see them, or is it too far away?
Yeah, how far away from port are we?
Give me perception checks on you guys. Okay, Fox. Artemay would be below her passive. Artemay could definitely see them.
Okay.
If she moved up there. Pogo, you can't quite make them out. You can see that there's coming from the village, and that there are people on the docks. You just can't make out who they are. Norok, you can pick it out as well. You can see them.
So
in fact, actually, with that roll, Norok, have you gone to the forecastle as well, G?
Yeah, I wanted to get up close and see as much as I could after Sarah told us that.
Okay, all right, then you are up there with Pogo and Samson, and you were the only one there when this occurred, but what you're seeing very much triggers the memory that you guys had of the Altarad when the Legion were evicting the refugees from Al-Qadir. That's exactly what it looks like. Them going house to house. Justin, you know what Crystal Noct was? Crystal Noct in history?
It sounds super familiar, but no.
It was when the Germans.
That's what I was gonna say.
We're going house to house, gathering up all the Jews. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, Noct means night. I'm pretty sure it's Nazi thing.
Yeah. Well, Crystal Noct is breaking glass at night is what I think what the word translates to, and that's what the word or that's what it was basically is when they.
So I'm gonna ask them: Are these the bad guys? Then we don't like these guys, right?
Regionally, you would already know that. You would know that the Vabian Legion are the.
Well, I couldn't
what
see
you
them.
understand are the aggressors. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You without seeing them, that Samson and Norok confirmed for you that yes, that's the Vabian.
I'm basically
Legion
like
there.
the dwarf in Lord of the Rings, just jumping up at the wall. Like, what is it? Tell me what's there. What's happening?
Somebody got an apple box I can stand on? Orvin, hearing Sarah's shout, comes up to is Fox back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. So Arteme, you see all of this as well. You're able to easily pick out on the shore there. As soon as Sarah yells this out, you look over there, and there are six of them just staring right at the ship. They're standing on the wharf, just waiting for you guys to come in. You're still probably half an hour out. That's how far off you are, or so. But as you're getting closer and closer, they're like waiting for you. But there are many other soldiers that are in the town that are just going house to house and pulling people out of their houses and then gathering them all up. But Orvin, hearing Sarah shout, rushes up to the forecastle as well, up to where you were, Justin.
I ran back and then I ran up.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
maybe I can see them better from all the way back here, from an extra 60 feet away.
I was gonna go ask the captain if there's any way to slow down the ship, and I'm pretty sure that's not how these fucking ships really work.
Can we just pump the brakes a little bit?
Yeah.
Anyway, but Orvin has run up. He's kind of standing, amongst you guys as well. He says, "Oh, lads, this is bad. This is really bad." And Samson kind of is still just looking at him. He's almost like slack-jawed. He says, "We have to get the Alderrock to Dunskathak. We really cannot delay."
I would like to ask Orvin if there's anywhere else we can take this boat, even if it might not be ideal.
He looks at you. He looks at Samson first, and there's like a clear, like his eyes squint a little bit, like Fry in that stupid meme. And then he looks at you and he says, "We can't just leave the townfolk, though. I mean, I don't have friends and family there, but they're just innocent. We can't just leave them to be taken like that. Especially not with the rumors been going around what the Vabians are doing to them." There were other villages, by the way, for a little bit further south. There were other villages that have been sacked and the people have disappeared, and the rumors of the Al-Bashar, the cannibal army, are abound. Everybody thinks that's what's happening.
Let's see. We can come up with a plan of attack here. I've never fought these guys before. What are we in for?
Orvin kind of shrugs. He looks at Norok. He says, I haven't. Have you?
Well, most of them aren't really all that tough. Their problem is they have a shit ton of numbers. That's what we're going to be up against. So
Samson looks at you, and then he looks down at Orvin. He says, "And not just numbers. They have the dead on their side as well."
Oh, yeah, so lots of numbers.
What are Arteme and Sarah doing? Everybody else, the crew is still kind of doing their jobs, but everybody else is pretty much gathered on the forecastle on the front.
How do I know how much longer I have on my mage armor?
You casted it at that fight, and that I already dropped it off of you because that was, it's already the evening, so it's for sure dropped by now. Because you casted it at 2 a.m. ish, and it's at 5 p.m., 4 or 5 p.m.
I would probably say maybe if we at least stop the boat. I don't think the other people on this ship are going to be much help. I think maybe if we stop the boat, maybe we can use that spell you put on us earlier where we can breathe underwater. Maybe we could get at least some sort of sneak attack before this whole boat ends up in the dock.
Samson says, you mean dive in and swim ourselves the rest of the way?
Well, I mean, we can take the boat all the way up to maybe 50 feet away from shore. That saves the people on this ship, gives them some options. We can get through the water if we can breathe under it.
Samson says, you're not great with distance, are you?
I mean, I can... What do you mean? You can't stop a boat 50 feet? What kind of a captain are you?
It's Samson that says that to you. He says if they've got a single archer amongst them, they can hit all of us from 50 feet. They can hit us all from 300 yards.
Yeah, not to mention
not if you're under
that
the deck.
much, and then going into a battle against undead is not what. What, you're gonna go into a battle dead tired? Are you kidding me?
Well, I was just gonna doggy paddle a little bit. not too stressful. Not too stressful, just a little. We could fashion surfboards out of the boats on the side.
How D&D would that be? You guys surf
All I'm
your way
saying
into a
is
battle.
they know we're coming. We could always, or what if we did the opposite? What if we just rammed the fucking thing full speed?
Orvin shakes his head. Orvin he doesn't say anything. He just looks at you and is like shaking his head like that's a ridiculous idea.
You
Fine.
don't want to lose another boat?
Yeah, he's lost two now. Well,
He has lost. I mean, kind of. I mean, the Emperor wasn't his, but yeah, he did lose the Remorseless.
but they're gonna. I don't really know. They're obviously going to expect us to hide under deck. So if we get a bunch of them to run in and run under the deck, and we find a way to like sneak out, like break a hole or something a little bit lower, that's gonna be in the water though, huh? Get out, set a trap on the boat though. I'm thinking if we can get out of there and get a bunch of them on. There's a way.
I like that. I like that too. I just don't know what we're gonna do with all the halflings.
Samson says, I mean, we've got to get this thing back as fast as possible. If we can make our way through them and save them at the same time, I'm fine with that. Maybe Norok, for your idea, maybe we just cling to the side of the ship, and then as soon as we get close to dock, we just hop off and blitz them as fast as we can. I don't know.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, Orvin, you and he's not interrupting you, but he says, Orvin, you and your crew can just get out of here as fast as possible. We'll essentially just drop us off and we run.
Quick question, logical question here. How are we running with this gigantic metal box?
What if? Okay, so what if?
Damn it!
What if the crew? We can get the ship the last 100 yards maybe. What if they tell us what to do for the last little bit? They take the skiffs off of the boat. They go to some other, hopefully far enough away area before they get landed, because these people might not know who or what's on board. And then we take the boat all the way farther in, and then we do Norok's plan where we can hide in the deep inside of the boat, and then let the boat kind of crash slowly into shore, and maybe we can surprise them on the ship, and then burn this fucker down.
That's what I'm saying. Fire.
We get out, burn it down.
Orvin says, you guys have cost me far too much already. I mean, again, I'll always appreciate that you saved my life, but you've tried to take away from me almost 4 times now. I'm not giving this ship up.
Orvin, was this even your ship to begin with? Didn't you just get it because the other guy was pulled off by a giant sea critter?
He says,
I don't want to split hairs here.
He puts a finger up. He says, that's a fair point, but it's mine by acquisition now, and I'm keeping it. You guys take a skiff. I'm keeping the ship. How about this? I'll get you close enough to shore. You guys all hop in. Take all the skiffs. I don't care. But I'm taking me and the rest of the crew. If any of them want to go with you, they're welcome. But me and the rest of the crew are getting the hell out of here. We're heading back to the Empire, and I never want to see you guys again.
All right. Well, I've got me and Serafina, or no, me and Arteme have to go down a few decks for 5 minutes with the bag, and we'll be right back.
No.
Dora, why don't you figure out?
There?
There's 3.
Okay,
There's
we'd
2 on
only
one
take
side.
one because. Wait, how many people fitness?
I've got
All of them except Norok.
got
Norok's
a
kind of
Uh-huh.
big. Yeah, so. But yeah, Sarah can fly in, or somebody can use the broom. Norok's too big, but everybody else could use the broom.
Okay,
But
so...
somebody still has to carry the Olderok as well.
Okay, so we put Norok and the Ultrarok in the skiff. We leave Orvin with 2 skiffs. That way, if anything goes wrong, at least the crew has some way of getting away. And
You're gonna try to put 3 people on the broom? You, Pogo, and Sarah all on the broom?
we
you
fit
could swim.
before. Yeah, I could also
You
swim.
put 2 of you on the broom. You didn't all 3 on the broom, did you?
Oh, right. Yeah, no, we did
No,
2 of
it's
us.
just 2.
So the 2 halflings on the broom. I could swim, because I could just change from shark and swim, which will take off both my slots.
Yeah, you can
But
spend
that's
up.
beside the point.
You don't need 2.
Uh,
You need 1.
Oh, because I used one earlier to be a shark to get the dolphin.
Yeah, but you've had a long rest since then. Oh, shit!
okay.
No, never mind. I forgot you did that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was earlier today.
Okay, so I do that, then I bird back as soon as we get to land, so I won't be too tired. Norok, Samsung, and the other thing go in the skiff, and we wish Orvin farewell and hope we meet him in better circumstances.
Norok
We
gives
do meet him
you
again.
a big wide smile, and he says, "That last is exactly the kind of answer I was hoping for. That's perfect. That sounds like a wonderful plan. I bet you'll all survive."
Right, I'm just gonna
Fine.
good luck.
Let's do it. Let's see what happens. But seriously though, I need to talk to you, Arteme, downstairs, real quick.
No. We are going right now.
Arteme,
I just
Arteme
jump
knows what
overboard,
you're.
turning into a shark with the
All
bag.
right.
Okay, well you're. I mean, you're still a little ways away.
Yeah, we
I mean,
to
you're
wait.
probably by now. You guys making this plan was probably 5 minutes. You're probably like 25 minutes offshore right now.
All right, so some of us are flying in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
some
putting
of us
up
are taking
mage
the
armor.
What was that? Becky?
Mage armor.
Okay. Samson says, "Well, this has been more trouble than I could have imagined trying to get this thing back. But if this is what we've got to do to get there, then I guess prepare yourselves, whatever you need, to be ready for another fight."
So
And
now that
he pulls his greatsword off of his back and he's kind of cleaning it and sharpening it.
where should we, when we get to shore, are we going to meet up by the docks, or do you want us to fly behind him and try to flank him? What do you guys think?
He says, "I'm not a battle tactician, but I mean, there are a lot of them and not so many of us. So whatever means you might have of softening them up as fast as possible, they're just people, and I'll tell you this, as much as I'm a soldier, I can tell you that unless they have somebody that's kind of forcing their morale, if we can just knock out enough of them to make them flee, then maybe they'll be on their way, and we can rescue yet more refugees, yet more mouths to feed, and then we can march them back to Dunskathak."
Well, we've got a few things working for us. I doubt they'll be expecting two halflings on a broom, so that'll probably take them by surprise. Maybe we can land on a roof or something when we get there, and at least be able to attack them from above.
For simplicity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and share you guys the map, because you guys can see the shore a little bit from where you guys are at. So you guys
Plus, we would have been there.
Well, true. You were there
Yeah,
before,
no
so
shit.
you guys can see a little bit. It's getting late now. Like by now that the sun has gone, far enough below the horizon that it's getting dim enough. But I'm going to go ahead and share you the map, and then you guys can kind of begin to come up with a little bit of a plan. I'll go ahead and I'll put some tokens on here to show you where the forces that you can see are, and then you can kind of put a little bit of a, or at least have an idea, I guess, of where you're going. There is a small, it's not a big ship, but there's like a fishing boat at the dock. And then it looks pretty ramshackle and busted up. Everybody have the map now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and, okay, for simplicity's sake, because I don't have the things on the map for you guys yet. So the row that you're seeing are along the wharf. So they're basically right here. So that red arrow is where the line of soldiers are, and then back in to the north, in fact above that arrow, is, well, actually it would be east, but to the north on the map there, above that arrow is where they're gathering up all the civilians, and there are more soldiers there. Give me a probably just flat intelligence check on Arteme. That purple is where you're talking about, Justin?
Well, I'm thinking do you guys remember that building? If we were coming into the dock, it would probably be on the left, right by the pier. Maybe we can land up there and we can do some damage behind them, so that when the other boat comes in to land, it's here.
I'm fine with that.
I hit the wrong one the first time.
Yeah, you did fine, Fox. Well, you rolled really shitty on the second one, so that's you actually had a 20 the first time before you actually fixed it to roll the right one. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Always the case. So you guys, you see the arrow where Fox? The reason I was having you roll that is to see if you could get an account, like an idea of how many soldiers you have that you can see.
Okay.
But with that check, there's too many going in and out of houses. It's hard to tell. But you can tell that there's at least by now a couple of them have moved. It looks like there are 4 on the wharf that you can see. But give me a perception check on anybody that is staring at the docks. Like if you guys are formulating a plan, that's a different thing. So specifically without metaing, whoever is like keeping a close eye on the docks right now, go ahead and make a perception check. And then you guys can go ahead and respond to what Pogo's plan was about landing on that rooftop there.
Well, I would say I'd probably be out there looking, because Norok doesn't deal with the plans very much. He just, goes along with them. So
Okay.
I'd say that I was actually trying to scope the situation so I could see where I'm going to go.
Okay. Natural one.
Can I use luck to redo my natural
Yep.
one?
Yeah, that's a skill check. Of course you can. Norok and Arteme both, and Pogo. All three of you, Sarah, you're still trying to kind of plot and figure out how you guys are going to get through this and try to hopefully save some of these people. But the others, you guys are seeing a couple of very large shapes moving amongst the soldiers there. Arteme, Sarah got knocked unconscious by one of these shapes before. Norok, they're bigger than you, and you do recognize that at least two of them are mortriless brutes.
Ain't nothing bigger than me. They're going down.
Quite a bit bigger than you. Cogrit knocked your ass out a couple of times too. I don't think he didn't knock you out, but he hit you pretty good. So.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
In fact, actually, Arteme, you actually do notice a red and black robed woman amongst the group as well that you think may look slightly familiar.
Oh, okay.
You can share with the group if you want.
I'm trying to find her name.
I just see a bunch of very blurry things.
Yeah, you're close enough now that you can actually. They're still awfully far away, and they look purple. They're wearing a lot of purple.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Can you look up the invisibility spell and see? So it says a creature you touch becomes invisible until the spell ends. Anything the target is wearing or carrying is invisible. At higher levels, if you use a third level spot, you can target one additional creature. So if we're on the broom, I targeted both of us for that. Could we fly in invisible?
The carried object is the question there, because that broom. Let's see. Carrying or wearing. The broom isn't. You're not really carrying it, but I would say. Well, the thing is, I mean, she has both hands on it. I would say that if you kind of held on to the broom as well, we could argue that you could make it invisible too. You basically could before you haven't lift off yet, but you guys are still making this plan while you're on deck. But you guys make the plan. You're pretty confident that you can make the broom disappear as well.
Okay.
Maybe.
So I'd like to tell them
That's
that
the right
that's
name.
an option. So maybe.
Oh, she was the name she was saying a name. The red robe necromancer is somebody that they didn't tell you about that they met previously. That they potentially, at least Arteme is half sure that might be her. She looks vaguely familiar, and her name was Maivi. So she said that. That's what.
Maybe.
So it sounded like maybe because it sounded like she was responding to what you were saying, but that was it. Anyways.
Can I know exactly how many soldiers are lined up on that dock?
Yeah, by now you guys are close enough with your guys' perception roll. You can actually see the Beck lights on the wharf there.
There's only 4?
So there's 4 there were 6. 2 of them moved away and look like they're beginning to trying to corral the civilians. But there are very large shapes moving amongst the crowd as well, like the big group that are outside of the where the civilians are, and the Seerdoman woman.
All right, on the ship that we're on, is there any cannons on the ship?
No, this is a trade. It's a brigantine would not have cannons. If it did, they'd be 4-pounders. So no, there would not be any cannons.
Can we carry a small cask of very volatile alcohol with us on the broom, or is that going to be too heavy?
That's a good idea.
If it's like halfling-sized cask, which
like
the
a
ship
small,
was crude. Yeah, the ship was crude by
Molotov
halflings. So I would say that
size or better.
a bit big for that. It's probably like the smallest cask.
That's fine.
You could find
Fine.
bottles. You could totally make a Molotov bottle.
Yeah,
but as far as cask. Yeah, as far as cask goes, you could make. I mean, because this is a halfling crew, and they had, since it was crewed by halflings before all of this, they would have halfling-sized stuff, meaning you could find a barrel that is probably a foot in diameter.
All right, I'd like to bring that with us.
Okay.
Maybe we can use it.
All right, so you've got a cask of rum with you then.
Light them on fire.
Okay, you guys are about 15 minutes out at this point, and Orvin tells you he's returned to the wheel, and he just shouts over to you that he's going to stop when he gets about 500 yards out. 500 feet out. Sorry. So he's basically he's preparing to turn, and he's going to turn to port. Yeah, he's going to turn to port, which will turn him north. He's going to head north. But basically, as soon as they're you've got 5 more minutes, and he's going to stop. He's going to turn, and you guys are going to need to get off the ship, basically.
Any other ideas?
I don't think so.
I feel like it's basically this, or commandeer the ship and just ram it.
I would not do that to poor Orvin.
Me either.
All right. So, what you guys going with this plan? You guys ready to hop off and go?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Then, so the ship begins its kind of wide. He's not trying to turn on a dime. It's basically a wide turn heading north. And Samson goes with you, Norok, and he goes below decks, of course, and grabs the older rock in the kind of weird plate box, and comes above decks. And he's just sighing, like shaking his head, like he can't believe that you guys are, having to go through this much trouble just to retrieve this thing. But he sets into the side of the skiff, and he says, "Do you mind? I mean, I know you're strong enough for this. I hate asking you for all this, extra help. But do you mind lowering me down, and then I'll help you get in?"
No problem.
All right, give me a strength. Make an athletics check on Norok. Sarah and Pogo. What do you guys doing?
So I'm gonna ask her if she
Seriously.
thinks it's worth it to go in as invisible, so maybe they won't see us. You think that's a great idea?
Well, yeah, because then at least they won't see us coming. I mean, they'll know they're there once we start fighting, but
So I'm going to. I think we're gonna go in invisible, and we'll try to show up. That way we can show up a little earlier before the boat. Maybe we'll see how they're moving while the boat's coming up.
Okay. Are you guys flying over like now then? Because it's going to take Norok and Samson a few minutes to row in.
If we're invisible, maybe we'll just try to show up a bit before them, just so we can land, and hopefully they don't hear us while we land.
Okay. So you guys both hop on the room and head out then?
Yeah. So it's Pogo and Sarah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and cast your invisibility, and then put the effect up for it too. So you're going to do 2. This one, there's no roll for it because she's willing to, so you don't have to make her roll or anything for it. So click both of the effects.
I don't have her targeted.
Retarget her. There you go. And then click both of the effects under invisibility.
It's weird. It doesn't show right.
It does. It shows target Serafina and Pogo right now.
I'm just saying on my screen it doesn't show.
It should.
Oh, there it is. Nope, I see it. I'm not looking at the right thing. Fantastic.
There you go. All right. So looking down, you now see, you're invisible, but you can still see the kind of predator vision style of the glowing appearance of the broom. But you are floating above. Sarah, how high are you? Because if you're trying to go up to the building, you're gonna have to be 15, 20 feet off the sea, off the waves. Are you going to be okay with that? Or are you going to be nervous with especially with that re-feeling coming back to your hand?
well, I'd already been up 15, 20 feet, so as long as it's not like too far above that,
And we can
I'll
fly
be
around.
okay.
We can kind of fly around too. We don't have to fly right over them. We can take a sneaky route.
Okay.
If,
All right.
if
So
it gets
you're
much
coming
more
in.
than that.
Okay. You're coming in from the north. Would be the left side of the map, basically. So you guys make your way in towards the dock there. What is Arteme doing? Going fishy and swimming over?
Yeah.
All right. Then Norok, you were successfully able to lower him down just fine. The DC was only 10. So you lower him down to the waves. There's a lot more motion you're noticing on the docks. They're moving around a lot more. It's clear that they're kind of preparing for you guys to come in. And now that they're realizing that the entire ship isn't coming in, but just a skiff, and that's it. That's all they're seeing is a skiff with 2 people on it. They're mobilizing, and maybe they're preparing to head further up the shoreline. In case the ship itself docks elsewhere, something of that sort. You don't know, but there's a lot of motion going on in the village itself now. Sarah and Pogo, you guys make your way in, and you fly right over as you're heading towards this rooftop. One of the very large dead ogres. These are ogres that have been re-raised as mortrillis, as dead soldiers. And there's a massive one with a huge shield that is clambering along the dock here towards the wharf, and then he stops as you guys make your way in. I'm going to go ahead and move the two of you. You are invisible, of course, but I'm going to put you guys on the rooftop where you guys have landed. There you go.
Do I recognize this one? Is this Mavis?
It is not. It does not look like Cogred.
So, is there enough kind of commotion and things going on here, loudness, that we can whisper back and forth to each other before we decide on what we're doing?
There's nobody close that even if you spoke quietly, you probably wouldn't be heard. If you whisper, you for sure would not be heard.
That's a big fucking thing.
That's what you need.
What is that?
Alright, so I'm gonna talk normally, but I'm whispering.
Sure.
Yep, one of those assholes killed me once, so...
He didn't kill you, he knocked you out. He knocked you unconscious.
It was fun.
Oh shit, no, actually you did. It was your Shadow of the Grave that got you back. Didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you die? You went unconscious. I don't remember.
I think I was down and I had failed one death save, I think.
Okay.
And then I think Arteme brought me back.
Okay.
So now that
what?
we're up here too, by the way, can we see anything else, or is it still just these 5 guys?
There's a huge gaggle of people. I'll go ahead and throw a token on here that are surrounded. But the soldiers, you see that there's basically you kind of flew over a group of them that were heading north. But there's a big group of civilians up here.
Got it.
Throw that token. That are kind of being circled around by. Well, the soldiers mostly have left, but they're basically there. And then now that you guys are close, you can see another one of these kind of hulking dead ogres right there, and he's got a huge steel chain thrown over one shoulder that he keeps kind of pulling down and swinging it around a little bit, like dragging it across the ground like he's bored. But he's clearly like intimidating the crowd of people.
What kind of are they wearing any armor, or are they just?
Neither of them are wearing any armor. The one that's closer to you does have a big like slab of steel, like a huge heavy chunk of steel that he's got in one arm, like he's using it for a shield. And he's got a big ass mace, like a morning star, on the other arm, and then the other one just has a big chain, and his fists are like all jagged and busted up. In fact, actually, here I have a that I showed them a long time ago, so they already know what it looked like, or at least did. But let me see if I can find it in the VA here real quick. Fox, I meant to ask you where I put you on the map there. You can go ahead and move yourself wherever you'd be, coming in from. If you're trying to, be stealthy about it or whatever, it's up to you.
Pogo grabbed a bottle of liquor.
Yeah, I've got a cask of booze. We can maybe light it. Do you have any spells that can light things on fire?
DM question: would Firebolt actually light stuff on fire?
Sure would.
Yeah, of course it can. Yeah, I think it actually even says it in there that if there's something flammable that it hits, that it can ignite it. I think.
A flammable object hit by the spell ignites. All right. So yes, I do.
All right, because I think I have a fun idea, and I don't know if it'll work. But what if? Hear me out. As I'm invisible, I can maybe run up to one of these big guys, throw the cask on him, and then run away, and then you light him on fire later.
Why don't we just float above him, drop it on him, and then hit him?
I kind of like that idea too. That's actually much smarter. In fact, we could drop it on him, and then just fly back to the roof. He probably has no idea what the fuck's happening. It'll be funnier that way.
Go ahead and everybody give me initiative, and there's a specific thing we're gonna do here, only because you guys didn't.
No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it yet. We're just talking
I know,
about it.
I know. I get it. Well, okay, but the problem is you guys didn't decide who starts, or like how is this gonna, what's the code word for, like, do we shout something? So it's basically just whoever fucks up an initiative first, or if you guys fly over and drop a bomb on them and then everybody else goes in. Arteme has a little bit longer to move, though. Was Arteme like reverting there and then running around? What is she doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably revert there and then just like hop up and sneak.
Okay, go ahead and give me a stealth check on Arteme. And then, depending on your roll here, we'll see how far you can get if you get noticed or not. You feel pretty confident that you're sneaking around. Nobody seems to be noticing you, so go ahead and move yourself to wherever you're kind of staging yourself for when the attack begins, unless you're initiating the attack.
I'm gonna hide behind this barrel here. I had called Sai back to me.
Did you?
Yeah, I think
You didn't
so.
say so. I know I told you that you could, but
Yeah, we
as
were
long as you have
talking
a
about.
reason.
Then I said, yeah, I would.
Okay.
Like, as a ritual after waking up. So.
All right. Where did my link go for her? All right, I'll drop her in the combat tracker for you.
That's her initiative.
Okay.
Well, she gets +2, so.
Yeah, so 16. All right.
Can we actually take like a 1 minute break before this all starts?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Go
I'll
ahead.
be right back.
All right. Oh. Hey, I can do it. Fox isn't here. All right. Sai. Well, you know what? I'll put her there, and then we'll have to ask Fox where she's going. There we go. Is that music too loud?
No.
That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, I figured I'd just go through the second level spells after we're done with everything, and just see about trading out Shatter, since I
Okay.
never use it.
No problem. It doesn't have to be a second level for a second level. It can be whatever level you want.
Okay.
So remember, like when you pick spells, it's not like you have to pick one of the new level. You can pick whatever level spell you want. Usually that means picking, whatever, your current max level is, but not necessarily always. But for second, you've got Darkness, Dragon's Breath, Shadow Knife, and Shatter. Shadow Knife and Darkness, actually all three of those you use often, you just don't use Shatter very often. So you can swap that out for a third or a first or something if you want, doesn't matter. Can't be a cantrip, of course, but it can be anything else.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do that after we're done here.
Okay.
You know what I pick?
So I was thinking we would just wait until they were very close to the dock to start this whole, like wait till they get very close to the dock and then we can put our plan in motion.
That's fine.
How's that sound?
Well, I figured we'd
That's-
wait until they were close.
that's-
anyways.
Yeah, that's fine for you guys, but Arteme doesn't know that. You guys didn't decide that before you broke up.
No.
You guys don't have... I'll keep that in mind, by the way. When you guys have the opportunity, that is a magic item that would potentially be very useful for you guys, especially for like this kind of an attack where you might have something where you would need to communicate with each other, like some Rocky Talkies, or Justin doesn't know what Rocky Talkies are. There's a magic
I
item.
legitimately just thought you mispronounced walkie-talkies and I was gonna be like, damn, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Out of all the words that I've heard you say in this game, they're Rocky Talkies, right? I've never actually read that word. I just assumed that everyone was saying Rocky Talkies for the last
Or that,
30-some
that
years.
is Asian.
Yeah, it is. Exactly.
Rocky
Um,
Rockies.
It's a magic item called a Stone of Far Speech. So it's a stone, and so colloquially they're called Rocky Talkies. They're called not Rock Phone. What was the other one? There's another one that's another stone pun, like something phone. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but anyways, there's some different colloquial terms for them as well.
That's like the earrings that they were using on the first campaign of Critical Role, right?
Yeah, those were Stones of Far Speech. You just made them earrings instead of being little stones like the one that you have from Pepperjack. The one you have from Pepperjack is technically what's called a sending stone, which is a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's limit. That one is limited to once per day. They're not all. He couldn't get. Well, the lieutenants didn't want to give theirs up. They needed them also because they had, especially Clover, for example, didn't want to give hers up. Not that you guys necessarily knew that yet, but it was Clover that told you. So.
Yeah.
Come on, Fox. I wonder why the audio was all jacked up for a bit earlier and I had to restart it. It's been fine ever since. I just don't want to. I don't want to trust this new machine if it's going to be causing problems. I could take my spare one from work, I suppose, and put it in here, but I have to reset it all back up again. And it's been working okay, so.
Can I just say that Pogo is very sad that he did not get to perform at the inn?
So I kept
he's bumming right now. He's like, ah.
You kept saying that, and I'm like in my head, I'm thinking, well, you may not really get that because I already knew that this would be happening, of course. But there's still Pogo doesn't know this, but Justin can. If you guys get back to Dunskathak fast enough and everybody's not dead, then there is a kind of an impromptu mess hall tavern there, where a lot of people would be happy to hear that. So, not to mention you guys can play cards or dice games, things like that.
There's not going to be a lot of dwarves there, are there? Because a lot of my jokes are very racist towards dwarves.
There weren't too many dwarves amongst the Crowblinders that cool. I would say, if Pogo asked that of the rest of the group. It's a
comedy show, so hopefully if there are dwarves there, they got a good sense of humor about it.
Yeah, they've got thick skin, right? Having to be living under the mountains, they'd have to. All right, Fox. So you, Sai is there with you then, of course. I put her right beside you. So what is your plan there? Again, you guys didn't decide on a plan of action, so don't meta it. If Arteme would wait for something to happen before going, then that's fine. If she would initiate the attack, then that's what you need to do.
I would probably wait to see what the others are doing.
Okay.
Because I can't attack any of them right now, unless my bow with me.
You could definitely make shots with your bow, and then you still have your spells, of course, which, your spells have much further range than you guys often think. You look like you're far away, but you're really not. Like, most of your spells are probably like 120 feet anyways, or at least a lot of them that if you moved up 5 feet, then you'd be within 60. So you'd definitely be able to get there. But even still, for that then, for what's going on, how about Sai? Is Sai just staying with you, or are you sending her to sneak in?
Oh, I can't move her at all. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know, I just can't. She's not a movable token.
So, yeah.
Release token, no, that's scale. She's not locked, you should be able to move her. I guess
not showing up as green.
Oh, shit, that's why. Whoops, there you go. I still had her as blue, that's why. That was my fault. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I would just wait to see what the others are doing, because those two big ones are the main people.
Okay. Yeah, Norik would definitely be aware of that too, most certainly, having fought one of them temporarily before. Norik and Samson, the boat is close. You're like 15 feet off, so you're about here. Are you doing it? What is Norik doing, I guess? You're still rowing. You've got the oars in your hands.
I'm just rowing, and I'm just going to say to Samson before I get too close, kind of quietly, just be like, let's play a little bit dumb to begin with. And then
okay, because you're within earshot of them. They won't hear you whisper that, but I mean, you can talk to them now if you needed to. You're close enough that they can hear you.
That's what I'm going to say to Samson. I'm just going to say, let's just play a little dumb to begin with, see if we can get them kind of centered, before we bring an attack. So
he doesn't say anything. He just gives a very slight, subtle nod. Okay, I needed to see something. Okay, you guys are still making your way in. Is anybody acting yet? Is anybody doing anything?
They're 15 feet out. I think we should go.
All right, so you guys are still on the broom. You don't really have time to decide or to talk too much about it. But Sarah, you guys, Sarah's leading the broom. You are sailing above.
Yeah. So basically, I think I'm 15 feet. I think I'm okay from that, because that'll even get all these other guards distracted. So yeah. Now, how does that work if we're doing something prior to the actual combat tracker? We just fly overhead, drop it, and then cast the spell. I mean, they're gonna know we're there, but I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Both of you do me well. They will. The invisibility will drop off of Sarah when she casts Firebolt. It won't drop off of you just for dropping the bomb. So you could presume. Well, never mind. I'm not gonna give you guys tactical advice.
No. So that was my plan. We're just gonna go in. I'm gonna throw it down. As soon as it just blows up over this creature, you can cast Firebolt. But we're not gonna be invisible anymore.
Both Pogo and Sarah, you guys both roll a d20, each of you, just a flat d20. You have the same initiative. You're going to stay in with the order you guys, just whoever goes first. Okay, Sarah's first. So Sarah, I'm going to bump you to 22, actually. Okay. But you're invisible. You are now flying over. Where is Sarah leading the broom? Go ahead and just drop. Do me a favor. Draw a circle where you're where you're telling Pogo, like you're just maybe point to the ground or something where you're telling him to throw the thing, or Pogo where you're throwing it. You can just tell me.
That would. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna try to throw it as solidly on his head as I can. Hopefully, one
Oh,
of
you're
those...
trying to hit the guy with it.
I'm trying to hit the guy with it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is
So,
that is?
actually- Yeah, my assumption was we were floating above him. He was dropping it on his head, and I was throwing the fireball.
On the big guy?
Bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then you.
This
There's.
this guy here.
This guy.
Right. Okay. Then in that case, go ahead and make a. It's not really something you're proficient at throwing casks.
Well, it's more of a. Remember, straight down.
Just kind of
I'm
dropping. Okay, you're just going
He
above.
doesn't
and
know we're
dropping it.
there. We're just above him.
Okay.
And we're just gonna throw it down at him. Well,
All right,
throw
well,
slash drop.
Go ahead and you just give me a flat dex check.
Okay.
D20 plus 4. There you go, 15. Okay. You guys are hovering kind of over his head, basically, probably 10 feet off above his head, and Pogo, you drop the cask, and the moment it impacts his head, you're kind of looking down past your hand as this cask drops out of your hand and cracks him in the head. And as he's starting to turn up to look towards you, you see your hand begin to become visible again. You are immediately, because you've made an attack now, dropping the thing on his head. You did hit him. He'll take 1 damage from the drop. That's not much, but it does make an attack, which makes you break your invisibility.
As soon as it hits his head, I'm casting.
You're only 10 feet above it, and that thing's gonna go boom.
Oh,
You already said it, so too late. You guys fucked yourselves a little bit. Like you could have, set the thing up invisible, and then moved away, and then blown it up while you were hiding, so you would have still been kind of invisible. But instead, you did it right above his head, from 10 feet above, where this thing is going to explode. So go ahead and make a. Go ahead and target the Mortrolis. The AC is actually going to be a little bit different. Go ahead and target the brute and cast your firebolt.
Why
Well,
was that an advantage?
why? Oh, because you're invisible. Because he didn't know you were there, so he wasn't trying to avoid your hit, basically. Which, I mean, kind of still anyway, since the thing would be right next to him. But you send a small firebolt out to this little cask that erupts in a cacophonous boom, that the force of which rattles the broom from underneath you. Both of you make dex saves.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Okay. The eruption of this explosion beneath you.
Couldn't have been a 1.
Yeah, he would have gotten to re-roll it if it was a 1. The explosion rattles the legs out from underneath the ogre underneath you. I mean, it definitely blew out a good chunk of rotting dead flesh off of him. So I mean, he's definitely wounded pretty badly from it. It did 33, so it did a good amount of damage. Which actually, Becklite 11 will have to make a dex save as well to see if he gets knocked in.
Oh shit! Did we just kill some people? Because there's people right next to us.
They're actually further north. I was putting them on there for, but they're actually away. I'm gonna go ahead and remove them off now that you guys know where they're at. But the closest Becklite on the wharf is blown away. Sarah, you see him get knocked off of the wharf as the wharf is kind of shattered and splintered into bits all around you. As you see this from a very up close vantage point, because you go sailing over edge of this until you splat onto the ground here. You were 20 feet up, so it's gonna be 2d10. Whoops. For a total of 9 damage that you take as your shoulder cracks into. You hear a cracking sound as you collapse into the concrete beside this Mortrolis, which of course does give you a little bit of a deja vu feeling of hitting the ground next to a giant dead brute. But the brute next to you is also knocked prone, so both of you are kind of laying flat on the ground here. And that was it for your turn, casting your firebolt there. Pogo, you kind of did it at the same time, so we're going to count the explosion as part of your turn. But your invisibility, neither of you are invisible anymore, having both attacked. You still have the concentration effect technically up, so you could drop that. What's that?
Where am I?
You're shit. Actually, you still are on the broom. Yeah.
Oh.
So I mean.
Oh, in that case, I'm gonna go right back here-ish.
Okay.
on
Yeah,
the roof.
you would still have your movement enough to fly yourself back over to the roof. But Sarah is laying down on the ground, so you're just kind of gonna leave her there.
Can I use
That's
a
a good hero.
bonus action, or is that my whole turn?
No, you still have a bonus action. Yeah,
Oh.
throwing the thing was your action, so.
Okay. Then I am going to cast Spiritual Weapon. It's new.
All right, there's your token. You can cast it within 60 feet of you, so go ahead and put it wherever you want within 60 feet of you.
We're gonna go and we're gonna put him right here.
Okay.
And I'm actually
gonna
gonna
make a comment?
cast it at a level 3.
What does it do when you up?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a level 2. I'm gonna cast it level 3. I get an extra. So the damage increases by another 1d8.
For every 2 slot levels above second, meaning it won't do anything.
Oh, every 2.
Before. Yeah.
Oh, third
Finish
level.
making sense.
Wait, third
So
level
it'll go-
higher. So 1d8 for every 2 slots above the second. Every 2 slots.
So-
Got it.
Well, yeah. So,
So-
basically, you don't have 4th level slots yet. So
In that
it
case,
would
I
be-
guess I'm casting it at level 2. Do
Go
I
ahead and
just,
mark off your second spell slot, and then are you gonna hit him?
yeah. So do I just? I'm not sure what I actually click here.
All
Do
right.
I
So
target him?
yeah,
do I target?
mark off your spell slot. You target him, and then you click the underneath spiritual weapon where you hit the magnified glass. You hit the cast button. To the right of it, it actually says melee +8. So when you hit the cast button, it'll try to hit him.
Got it.
There you go. He was knocked prone, so you have advantage on it. So, Sarah, you see this out of the corner of your eye. Norak is above your view. Arteme, you see a kind of a lavender purple banjo appear in the air and float
Ghost
over
banjo!
at this Mortrolis brute that is laying flat on his back after his legs got blown out from underneath him, and then clubs him square in the head. It doesn't connect. Go ahead and roll the damage on it.
So
And
do I
Hit the effect
damage?
for the self so that you have that up. There you go. That is not... Oh, shit, it's still spiritual weapon. I gotta change that. There, now it says banjo. Don't hit the effect yet. Let me fix the spiritual banjo. Whoops, you guys can ignore that. Well, you can just hit ready, won't matter. Alright, spiritual banjo is ready. Go ahead and you hit the... Damn, you rolled well. So do 12 damage to him where it clubbed him in the head. Hit the effect under that, Justin. Oh, you did. Yeah, you're fine. I'll fix this. There you go. And it is Norak's turn.
All right, we are going to.
You have arrived now. So Samson, continue. You guys basically row the rest of the way. I don't want to count that as your movement. You guys were still kind of finishing that as the explosion happened. The soldiers are up. The dock right here is like destroyed right there, the wharf. But the soldiers around you are immediately like panicked and pull shield up, like they were preparing to talk, like they looked like they were about to arrest you or whatever they were going to do. But they've immediately armed themselves and kind of prepared to attack. What are you doing?
All right, I'm just going to roll up and say, "What the hell was that?" And be like,
Like feign ignorance?
"Well, yeah, I'm just gonna roll up and just look around and be like, what the hell is going on? What are you guys even doing here? Like, because we just pretend like we don't even know that they were supposed to be there, kind
Like
of thing."
you didn't even notice the explosion that just happened like 20 feet away from you?
No, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm like, we're gonna roll up and just be like, what the hell was that? Are you guys okay?
Make
we're gonna-
a persuasion, deception check with disadvantage. He definitely does not believe you, and he shouts down at you to leave your weapons in the boat and come up with your hands up. Step on the wharf with your hands up. Samson is already grabbing the box and standing up, and you can see that he can't hold the box and his sword at the same time, but he can't leave the box behind.
All right, then I'm going to hold up, Vulcan, so we can see it, and I'm going to set it on the ground. Well, on the boat.
On the wharf or in the boat? You're setting it down in the boat?
Yeah, I'm going to set it down on top of the box in the boat. And then
Okay.
I'm going to put my hands up, and I'm going to step up right here. And then I'm going to
Rage!
How did you know?
And the sound goes, the auto go, or the triggered audio goes. Rawr.
So he hears me do that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pull Vulcan into my hand, and I'm gonna fucking smash this dude. So.
Okay. It's a free action to summon it to your hand, right?
Okay. Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah, I think so. Let me check. While attuned within a range of 1 mile, as a bonus action. It's a bonus action to summon to your hand.
Okay.
Still gonna do it? Oh, your rage is a bonus action.
Yeah. All right, then. You know what I'm going to do is.
You're just gonna try to wrench his head off with your hands.
Yeah.
And leave
Since
Vulcan in the boat.
Yeah. So I'll just leave it sitting there for now. And actually, what I'm going to do is see if I can grab him and throw him in the water.
He does look to be. You would guess based now that you can see the other three, that he's probably the captain. You're gonna try to grapple him and throw him in the water.
Yeah, I'll see if I can grab him and throw him in the water.
All right, make an athletics check.
Okay.
That is the captain. Oh, I already had him identified as the captain for you guys too. So
Yeah.
This must be a terrifying ordeal for these guys.
Yeah, what the hell's going on here, man?
These
They do
guys
have
try to
two-
do their job, as bad as it might be.
Yeah. Poor guys.
that's part of what Samson told you too. Is they're just humans. They just haven't been born on the other side of a line. So, you know, leaving Vulcan in there, his guard is down just long enough for you to reach out and just grab both hands around his neck. Which is, I mean, one hand is almost enough to get all the way around his neck as it is. But you just grab both hands around his neck and just fling him off to the side, basically throwing him by his neck off of the side here. Roll a d10 for me. D20, sorry. Okay. It's not, you can't throw him very far. He is, you know, like trying to resist as best he can. He slips out of your hands just enough that he lands in the water just over the side of the wharf there. But he's like weighed down. It looks like he's struggling, as well as the other one that you saw, by the way, the one that got blown off at the dock. Both of them seem like they're struggling to, they're wearing armor. You know, it's brass, but it's still heavy. That they're struggling out of. The water isn't super deep, but they don't look like they're getting out of it very easily. That if your turn? That was your action, bonus action.
Yeah, I'm just going to move up a bit so that way Samson has room to hop up if he wants to.
Okay.
So
3 is directly in front of you and immediately themselves and preparing to attack. This one is rushing square up to you and is going to try to spear you. With an 18 hits. You're already raging, so you'll take half, but does 6 damage. The captain is going to attempt to remove. They're just straps. He could probably cut the straps and fuck his AC up. We'll call it a dex. Oops. You see him struggling in the water, and it looks like it's off of his armor, but it's taking most of his turn to do that, and is swimming. And now that he's removed the straps and can swim a little bit, he can only get 15 feet. He's swimming up to here off the side of the wharf. That's as far as he can get. What is Sai doing, Fox?
For now, she's just been
Okay.
Enjoying the show.
The brute with the chain looks puzzled and confused, but sees a potential adversary laying on the ground.
Shit.
He can definitely make it over to you, and this is really bad news because
boy.
he'll have advantage because you're on the ground. He kind of leans down, he drops the chain, and is just trying to punch you square into the ground for a 20. So that definitely hits. Not natural 20, but a 20.
Wait. Mage armor brings me up to what again?
It's +3, so it'd be a 16.
And shield gives me +5, so shield.
All right. You kind of look over and still slightly dazed from falling all that distance. You look up and see this lumbering oaf moving your way, and you throw one hand up just in time to cause this big blue sphere to erupt around you. And his fist kind of connects into it, and he kind of stands back and holds it like it hurt his hand or it hurt his wrist. As he's kind of shaking it off, looks very confused. It does not connect in that case. That's it for his turn. Artemis' turn.
I'm gonna target the one right in front of Nora and
Okay.
hit him
Doing what?
with, try and hit him with my bow.
Okay. Okay, so the comedy of this is something that I have, just because she did get a natural 20, But you guys want to guess what she rolled on the die after that? It's inescapable for Fox. She got a fucking 1 right afterwards, which is still a crit. There's no special effect and everything. It's no matter what she does, she can't avoid. Even when she gets a natural 20, she still gets a 1. And the music just went choppy too. Fucking A. All right, it's probably CPU's maxing out or something. Oh shit. Well, Artebe kind of pops up from behind the box and sends an arrow flying over the fishing boat there that goes straight through the neck of this soldier who just swung it, jabbed at Norok. He stands there kind of confused for a moment, brings an empty hand up to his throat and pulls it away, seeing the blood pouring out of his neck, and just kind of slumps forward onto the dock there in front of Norok.
I duck back now.
Okay. Give me a stealth check on Artebe. You can't actually hide as a bonus action, but it's fine for. There you go. Okay. That is it for your turn then. Backlight 1 is the other one on the dock, seeing one of his partners fall and 2 others being thrown into the water. He backs, so he looks like he's kind of panicked for a moment. He wastes a little bit of time before rushing at Norok to similarly try to jab at him. Which also hits. Why is your AC so low, G? What's your AC at? That seems lower than normal. No, it's 15. It's fine. Okay. But he rolled really shitty anyway, so and you take half damage from raging. Similarly, try to get his armor off. He succeeds as well. So both of them, their AC is reduced. The captain and the other one that was swimming because they had to break their armor off to get out of the water. So he swims up. Actually, he can go. Well, the dwarf's broken there, so he stops there. That is it for his turn. It is Samson's turn, who can't do much. He kind of stepping out of there as best he can. He's still holding the box. And he's kind of still behind Norok. It is that brute's turn, who spends half of his movement to stand up, and then is going to. Does shield last the rest of your turn?
I think so. Let me double
check it for me real quick. See if it's just that one action, or if it lasts for the rest, like the remainder of the round or something.
First appears protects you until the start of your next turn.
All right, that's good news. There's nothing. Everything is fine on here. This machine, the CPU is only at 48%. Memory is half, about 50%. What the hell? It's probably the audio driver's crashing or something.
How's it playing audio through? Is it running that same program, or how's it actually play audio through the system?
I actually checked it on 2 different programs, but at the moment it's just YouTube, just from Chrome. But I played audio through just an MP3 on the machine as well, and it was chopped also, which means it's probably the driver. But if I kill the audio driver and restart it, it is going to jack up the recording, and we're near the end anyway, so we'll just go without music for a little bit. You want to sing us another mermaid song?
I mean, I do. I'll sing very softly in the background.
There you go. All right. The brute is going to. This one is the one with Morning Star, though, but stands himself back up. Comes over towards Sarah and is going to try to club at you. He'll have advantage because you're still prone. Why are you not prone? Why do you not have advantage? You should have had. Well, it was a 23, so it's still. Actually, you were 16 plus 5, so you're 21. So that would still hit. Let's see if he would have missed if he had advantage or a flat roll, but he still hits for 46.
Oh no!
Oh shit! That's a big ass hit. You rolled 2 5s, a 6, and a 4. Yeah. So you still laying there. The Morning Star comes swinging down. You're able to roll out of the way just enough that it caves in through your shoulder. You feel it split, like that same shoulder that you landed on is severely broken. It's you're going to need some healing, of course, before you'll be able to use that arm. Sarah's turn. What are you doing?
Right. So, oh wait, hang on. I need to change the thing on my ring.
So all I did is I just YouTubed Chrono Trigger music, and then I'm just letting that play through my headphones. It's gold.
Well, that's fine on your side. Nobody else can hear.
If anyone else wants to open up another tab,
nah, that's fine. I was just kidding, anyways. It's only a few more minutes. I'll troubleshoot while I'm at it.
All right, I am going to use 2 2 things in my ring of healing surges, so that way I can use it as. Oh fuck! No, I don't want to do that. Damn it! Fuck. Never mind. I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
Yes. I have plans.
Okay. You're
Okay.
still prone,
I know.
and
So
your
does
did shield drop? Shield is gone now, right? It's at the
Yeah.
start of your turn. It disappears. Okay.
So I'm standing up. Does disengage work for one target or both of
No,
them?
disengage is you can't be hit by opportunity attacks while you're using it. It takes your action, but you can do that.
Awesome. So I'm going to disengage.
Okay.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. God, that's not far enough. And then I'm going to call my hound.
Okay. These are your plans.
These are, well, my plans changed after I got hit again. So I'm going to call it.
Thanks, Justin. I do. I recognize the music. Go ahead.
This dude, because he hasn't been hit yet.
Which dude?
The chain guy.
Okay.
Chamber. Now it says that it appears 30 feet from the target. I have to roll initiative for it.
Okay.
Then it'll take a turn.
All right. Then in that case, go ahead and give me a flat d20. Its modifier. All right. So 19. So 21. She will be acting right after Pogo. Does she get to make an attack immediately?
Let's see. It says.
Real quick, how's the volume on this? Is that too low?
It's good. No, it's fine like it is. It's for me anyway.
So she's within 30 feet of the target. Roll initiative. On its turn, it can move only toward the target and the most direct route. It can use its action to only to attack its target.
Okay. But it doesn't get to attack when you summon it then?
No, I summon it and it's 30 feet away from the target in an unoccupied space. And then on her turn, she moves directly towards the target and attacks. And then the target has disadvantage on any spells that I cast against it.
All right. Also has temporary hit points equal to half your sorcerer level. So an extra 3 on top of, she has 37. So total of 40.
Okay, now I have no.
Within 30 feet. It's within 30 feet, so you can place her wherever you want her to be within 30 feet of your target. And the target has to be within 120. But basically, you can put her wherever you want. There's plenty of room. So where do you want her?
I want her behind him.
Okay.
But I don't have a thing for her attack. So I don't know how to do that.
I should put that on there for you. Sure? I could have sworn I did. No, I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put that on there for you. In the meantime, I can on my side.
Okay.
It is a bite. It is 3d6 plus 3 piercing with a strength save of 18 to try to pull them to knock them prone. Attack is plus 5. It's just pack tactics too.
Well, that's my turn.
Okay. All right. Then it is Pogo's turn.
Oh no, that's wrong.
What?
I was there.
Yeah, and you stood up. You have 15 feet. Yeah.
10, 15. So there.
Okay.
Well,
All right,
I'm.
You still have your banjo up too.
Yeah, I've got. But I'm gonna go try to pick up Serafina, get her a little bit out of danger. But it would kind of
pick her up to bring her up to the roof with you.
Actually, I was gonna move to a slightly different rooftop, but
okay. What's the range on? Is it 60 feet, 80 feet, Becky?
The broom is, I think, 90. Let me double check. Where's the broom? Broom of flying is. Nope, speed of 50.
Okay, 50 feet then that you can move, Justin.
So I've got 10 feet to pick.
Well, it's 10 feet to get there, and then you've got to go down a little bit to pick her up.
Sure. So 15 feet.
So we'll call it 15 feet, to grab her.
And then we're going to, I'd say, move a little outside the range of these guys.
Okay. To grab her is going to take your action, though.
Yep.
Okay.
Use my action to grab her.
Okay.
Then we're going to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I'm thinking we'll go right around here.
Okay.
And then we'll...
Sarah's not resisting, I assume.
No.
And as a bonus action, I'm going to move this little guy right around behind him
And
and
try to club him with your banjo again.
try to club him all with my banjo.
All right, go ahead and make the attack roll with your banjo.
I'm turning to Pogo just saying, when this is all over, I want my broom back. It likes to sleep with me.
Oh, I don't have it. I'm gonna have a YouTube ad on my music.
That sucks.
So since it's already cast, do I just do the attack?
Yeah, so you just hit the attack roll, the cast button. 23, that hits. Hang on, I think I still had him prone. It was the second, it still would have hit anyways. There you go. That's the strings one for spiritual banjo. It's going on too long, but it still worked. All right. I'll get the proper banjo one in there for you as soon as I get the time to make the custom sound. Damn, you rolled max damage on that one. You really high the first time and then max damage on the second one. Pogo is the anti-Arteme. Rolling well. All right. The purplish banjo flings around the back of his head and clubs him across. You guys hear the kind of the banging of the strings as it's clubbing him across the head. That is it for your turn.
That is it for my turn.
Okay, it is Shan's turn, Becky.
All right.
She's behind the chain brute.
She's gonna attack him. That's the only thing she can do.
She's gonna bite him. Okay. She doesn't get multi-attack or anything, right?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says
I don't
that
think
it
she does.
attacks.
It uses direwolf stats, so direwolf stat doesn't have it. So just it's actually I bumped the stats a little bit to make them a Hound of Shadow instead of the just direwolf stats. But it has to make a strength save. So damn, she rolled 2 6s and a 2 for 17. So she bites hard into the dead flesh of the calf, just ripping into the calf of this brute. This is the chain brute. But she grabs into the calf and just rips a chunk of the dead flesh off and flings it. Let's see if he makes a save. He fails his save, so the chunk of muscle being ripped off of the brute is enough to kind of make him collapse over. He falls to one knee, and the weight is just too much of this landing on the knee, so he ends up rolling over till he falls on his right shoulder. He is knocked prone, and that is it for his turn. Snork's turn. I can't hear you, Jay. Are you muted? You're not lighting up anymore.
Is that better?
Mhm.
Okay.
You're good now. Yep.
All right. So I am going to actually. I can step over that body, right?
Yeah, but there's one in front of you. You're just gonna ignore him.
Can I walk through past that body to get on the other side of homeboy over here?
There's enough. I mean, you kind of have to shove past him, but Backlight 1, you can shove past him enough to go past. Are you trying to
I'm
go
trying to get
past
on
him
the other side.
completely?
Yeah, just,
Okay,
just
yeah, you're
get
fine.
up right where I am.
Yeah,
on the
if you're
other
just skirting to get to the other side, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, and then I'm going to, while I'm standing here, I'm going to summon Vulcan to my hand. So is that going to whack him on the process?
You know, at that angle, probably. What's the damage do when you do that? Let me see.
Let me see.
It deals an extra. Oh no, hang on. That's when you use a ranged attack. 2d4 plus 4 when it travels through him. You pull it back to your hand, and it immediately comes flinging end over end. As if you'd thrown it intentionally to go careening through him. Go ahead and roll 2d4.
Okay. That's lightning damage, so I don't know if that matters to him, but
2d4 plus 4. Far right one. There you go. For 9 damage as it goes sailing. Just little soldiers. The crackling electricity coming off of it as it passes him fries the hair on his head. You see him kind of standing and jittering as the electricity passes through him. He's still conscious, but he looks in very bad shape just from that shock alone.
okay. Then I'm going to. I don't think I'm even going to need it, so I'm just going to do a standard hit on him because that was my bonus action to take it to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I still have 2 hits. So.
Let me put a note in here to add Vulcan to your. That hits.
Okay. See you.
You carve a big swath down his back, and he kind of collapses forward. He was already still jittering, but not even recuperated from that or stopped from that yet. As he falls forward, that's it for him. Is that it for your turn?
Is the cap? How far down is the captain? Can I hit him with melee?
He's grabbing. He's grabbing at the edge and starting to like lift himself up, and then he sees you, and his eyes go wide.
Okay.
You gonna try to hit him?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
This time I'll throw on my great weapon. I can use it on my second attack, the reckless, since I didn't do it at all, right? It's okay on my second attack? Okay.
Well, I don't think you have to use it on your first. I think it says on the first, but I think it only means that you...
I can only do it once per round, I'm guessing is what it means, right?
Yeah, I think so, and that's fair anyways. Natural 20. Go ahead and roll the damage. The effect was a 1, so you actually got the same thing Fox did a little bit ago.
Okay.
So no special effect. Okay, so for next time, it's fine for this time. It does say when you on your, so you would normally have to do it on your first.
Okay.
For now, don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Where he's pulling himself, he's got one arm, the support for the wharf, and he's starting to lift himself up with one arm. You bring it down through basically almost at the shoulder and just take the arm off there. And he's bleeding out so much that he starts to fall back into the water, and you see the eyes begin to fade out of consciousness as he falls in. That's it for your turn?
Yep.
Okay, it is Sai's turn. Did you do anything, Fox?
Not at the moment.
Okay. I just realized you guys have 2 female dogs with you now, too. Between Shay and Sai.
Right. We got the girls with us.
Yep. The chain brute kind of stands back up with most of the muscle missing off of his left or his right thigh, rather. He stands up, spins around, and he's going to, with that same chain, he kind of whips it around and tries to whip it at the dog here. I don't want to muddy it up with a whole other sheet, so I think we'll leave it like it is, but he's going to try to sweep Shan out from under it. Which Shan fails, so I think Shan's probably immune to prone because she's made a shadow, so here we go. Well, she's pretty beat up. She's a little over half HP. She's still fine. And it's Artemis' turn.
Okay.
There's just 2 big lumbering ogres, and then there's a soldier you can't see that's in the water, but then there's 2 big lumbering Motrolis in front of you.
Okay, I'm gonna go for that one.
Okay.
Again with my...
Okay.
And you probably saw...
You cut out there, Justin. Saw what?
I was going to say, she probably saw us fly over to this.
You would have seen Sarah and Pogo fly over to the rooftop nearby, so...
Yeah.
That hits. For a good roll. We should get some decent rolls in now.
It's just a heads up. I actually had to cut out at 9. Take my meds, and Lee, you gotta go.
Okay.
If there's still going. You can play
you
my
said at 9?
Yeah, like literally at 9.
Okay, well, it's 9 o'clock right now, so...
I don't know, like 1 minute according to my watch. Did I give you enough of a heads up? Is that enough of a heads up?
That's our normal cutoff time anyways. We'll go ahead and call it here, and we'll just pick up here for the because this fight will probably go on a little longer. So we'll just we'll pick it up here next week, assuming everybody's good for the 14th.
Should be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fox?
Hi, guys. It was nice playing with you, but I got to go.
Bye, guys.
See you, Justin. Bye guys.
See ya.